Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite team in the Bay Area. And on today's episode, we have a special guest, Surjan Singh, who is trying to revolutionize the goalie mask. So we're going to talk about his process, his design, how he started doing this, and then he got to go to San Jose and work with Aaron Dell and James Reimer on his prototype. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, JD Young, contributor at Fear the Fin and San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making us your first listen. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can subscribe on YouTube. And if you're already watching on YouTube, go ahead, hit the little subscribe button, hit the little bell. That way you get to know when every episode comes out. Spoiler, they all come out on YouTube first. So if you want to keep up with these Sharks, Locked On Sharks YouTube has got you covered. And today's episode, like I said, I have Surjan Singh, who's working on a new goalie mask, kind of getting rid of the bulk, trying to make it more kind of lightweight, so better eyesight for the goalies. So we're going to talk about his process, his development, and just how he's kind of working on his design. And then, of course, his trip to San Jose, where he got to work with James Reimer and work with Aaron Dell, on trying to kind of get some tweaks and kind of the next phase for his design. So enjoy my conversation with Surjan Singh. All right, now we bring in Surjan Singh, who has one of the coolest things you're ever going to see. He's actually going to be working on revolutionizing the goalie mask. Surjan, how are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great. How about you, JD?
Not too bad. So I saw you've recently visited the San Jose Sharks as you're trying to you're working on a really special project. What is the project? Kind of explain, what is it? What are you trying to do here with your goalie mask?
Yeah, so the idea is basically, well, I've got one of my prototypes sitting here, so it's probably a little easier to have visuals, but the idea is basically to kind of try some different things to basically improve the visibility in goalie masks. The idea here is using a material called Dyneema, which is actually a fabric, or in this case ropes. Mm-hmm. But the material is used in sort of ballistics armor, bulletproof vests, that kind of thing. So it's incredibly strong. This was just an idea I had. I don't know, I guess it's been almost a year now that I've been working on this. And I play beer league hockey where I skate out. I'm not crazy enough to be a goalie myself, but I wear a full cage. And so, at some point, the cage and sort of just the bulletproof vest sort of combined in my head, and I had some vague idea of something like this, and then over the last 9-10 months I've just been working on trying to make it a real product. So
yeah, I mean, that's the original, I guess, going back to like kind of old goalie masks, for like growing up like Dominic Hasek with like the huge cage mask.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you've seen nowadays they've gotten a little bit better and a little bit clearer, but that makes sense, right? For goalies, you want to be able to have as much. And I'm sure with goalies, you get used to not having, the bars in front of you and stuff. But, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see they're really thin, like ropes. So how has the kind of the testing process been going? And, like kind of explain your process of how you're getting to where you're at right now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of failures. That's kind of what I'm finding is kind of par for the course in sort of invention type thing. It's just, failure after failure. And then at the end you get sort of one right product, and but you do kind of have to go through all of those to learn the lessons that you need to learn. So I'm still very much in the failing stage, but it's a little to be expected. But yeah, it's been progressing well. I'm really happy with how things are moving. I've been doing some testing at again down in San Jose. There's a spot where they have sort of off ice training.
Mhm.
And they have a puck machine there, so they let me use that every once in a while. So I got to do that. Behind me, you can see that sort of tripod-looking thing. That's I've been doing drop tests on the
Mhm.
map, so dropping anywhere from like 5 to 40 pounds on it from like 3 feet to sort of mimic the energy of various speed shots. So at currently, as I'm talking to you, where I'm at is the strength is looking good. Um, the sort of next battle that I'm gonna have is sort of the deflection, because obviously it's not rigid bars anymore. It's
Yep.
ropes that can move. So just controlling that to a point where the puck isn't gonna have any chance of going back into the goalie's face. So that's kind of the next challenge up.
So with your design, are you just kind of like sketched it out? Hey, let's try this. Let me try this type of thing, or like how is your kind of design process, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Yeah, so my background's in mechanical engineering, and before this, I was an aerospace engineer, and I was actually sort of the like how I got to doing this. This wasn't I didn't set out to like create like a business or an actual product. It was just kind of like what I was doing is almost you could call it like a self-directed master's sort of
Mhm.
thing. I was getting a little bored at my job, as strange as that sounds. Like you'd think working on spaceships or whatever is like pretty cool, but
This is dumb. Who wants to work on
yeah,
spaceship?
yeah, exactly. I was getting a little bored because there was sort of I felt at least there was a little lack of creativity,
Mhm.
and it was like very sort of spreadsheet heavy, the work I was doing. Um, so I was planning on going to get a master's, but that was like right as the pandemic hit. So then it didn't make quite as much sense to do sort of an online course. So I just decided to do this self-directed thing, and part of that learning process was trying to find a method of engineering that like really appealed to me, that kind of fit my style.
Mhm.
And so like for me, instead of doing a lot of like computer modeling and computer simulations and stuff, I really like being hands-on prototyping and testing in the physical world. Again, it's just like, I think it's similar to how people do art. There's like
Yeah.
all sorts of different styles, or whatever fits different people. So for me, I really like the physical um, prototyping and testing, because I think it really the computer simulations in some cases, like in something sort of as complicated to model in a computer as this, like it can sort of lead you astray. So that's kind of been my approach, is just a lot of like um, building stuff and breaking it, really.
That's yeah. I mean, some artists, clay. Some use, paints. You like to dabble in goalie masks. That's
Yeah.
perfect. All right, guys. Before we continue our conversation with Surgeon, where we talk about his trip to San Jose and how he worked with James Reimer and Aaron Dell, and met or not met, but saw Joe Thornton. Do want to take a quick break and let you guys know about our friends over at Built Bar. You guys know by now, Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar on the market. If you haven't tried them out yet, you are depriving yourself of one of life's greatest gifts. And if bars aren't your thing, they have these Built Bar puffs, and they have new flavors like cookie dough. They're covered in chocolate. They've got cookie dough chunks, a nice light and chewy texture. What more could you ask? All the joys of eating cookie dough without the hassle of making it. Plus, it's actually healthy for you. 160 calories and 15 grams of protein in them. So head over to built.com. go check them out. And if that doesn't sound like the flavor for you, go check out. They have a bunch of flavors. You can actually get a box that has a bunch of different ones. That way you can find your favorite Built Bar. So again, go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKEDON15, get 15% off your order. Use promo LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. So you got to go to San Jose and kind of test your mask. So how hard is it to get the first goalie to be like, hey buddy, do you want to put this over your, we don't know if it's going to work all the way, but do you want to try this thing out? How hard is it one to get like a goalie, and then like your trip to San Jose, how did that kind of get together?
Yeah. So I've actually had a lot of goalies who've showed interest. Like, I guess to sort of answer both questions, like I had sort of a Twitter post, I guess it must have been like 2 months ago now or something, that kind of went a little viral in the hockey goalie world. So I did have a fair few goalies reach out, and I think, like, if you're a goalie, that already means you kind of don't have the self-preservation gene. So I don't think like the sort of the lack of testing and whatnot, and me saying that this is like an unproven concept right now, that didn't really
They're like, fine, it's fine.
But yeah, they're like, yeah, we'll go for it. So it's actually been me who's like trying to, pull back on the reins, be like, okay, it's not fully ready yet. I would just, at this stage, I'm very much just trying to gather information, see if like, is it even like much better than what you already use, and that sort of thing. So at this point, like none of the sort of on ice goalie based testing has been anything that has pucks on the ice at the same time. Very much just sort of checking sight lines and visibility and that sort of thing. So yeah, still just gonna do a ton of off ice testing before it goes on anyone's face in like a practice or game situation. Because I don't think I could live with myself if they got anybody's eye, like if I tried to rush this too early. So yeah, there's been a lot of excitement, a lot of people intrigued by it. So I'm really happy about that. And one of those people that was intrigued by the original tweet was Jonathan Becker. I'm not
Becker, yeah.
Becker. President of the Sharks. He reached out, and we kind of just had a few chats in the past couple weeks, months, and he extended the opportunity down for me to come down to Sharks Ice in San Jose, the practice rink, and yeah, meet with Evgeni Nabokov and some of the goalies, and yeah, it was just it was pretty wild, pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, Nabokov's a legend at least in Sharks land, and then James Reimer is a beloved Shark. From everything I've heard from James Reimer, is anything you ask him, he's like, sure, whatever you need, type of guy.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Dell, everyone has a soft spot for Aaron Dell too. So what was it kind of like meeting with these guys and kind of showing your work to them?
Yeah, I mean, it was it's just cool, because it's like basically like a month ago. Well, I mean, it still feels like yesterday to me, but yesterday I was like just the biggest hockey fan, and then like today I'm here sort of just like casually chatting with these guys. And it's like the coolest thing is it's like not even sort of like I don't know, like a fan player interaction. It's like we're actually getting to talk about like how I could improve things for them, which is just like super cool. So it's like, all of my interests sort of combined into one project. So yeah, I feel really fortunate. But yeah, the rumors are true. Reimer is like the nicest guy you'll ever meet. And yeah, everybody else just, yeah, Aaron Dell, legend, Markov, legend. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. They were super cool, super intrigued, and yeah, asking just really thoughtful, intelligent questions and giving me great feedback. So yeah, I couldn't have asked for much more.
And then you met Joe Thornton, or you ran into Joe Thornton as well. You have a very lovely beard, but I mean, seeing Joe Thornton's beard up in person, is it a little intimidating?
Yeah, he was just walking out of the rink, but I definitely did a little bit of a double take as I saw him. But it's magnificent. Looks glorious.
It is. Yes,
very full. Very.
I mean, mine's okay, but and yours is very nice, and his just makes ours just dwarfs. Yeah.
Oh,
so, all right, guys, before we finish up and we get into some nice Sharks Ducks talk, let's go ahead and let you guys know about Locked On NHL. You guys know, of course, Locked On Sharks got you covered 5 days a week for everything in the Bay Area. You can find us wherever you get podcasts, and of course on YouTube. Hit the little subscribe button, hit the bell. But Locked On NHL, they've got you covered for everything in the NHL as a whole. Episodes Monday through Friday. Wednesdays, they do Western Conference Wednesdays. Thursdays, they have power rankings. They're going to be doing their first power rankings of the year on this Thursday's episode. That way you get to, these are all voted on by us, the hosts. So you can yell at not me, but all the other hosts when they have bad decisions. So go check out Locked On NHL wherever you get your podcast. And of course, subscribe on YouTube as well. So you're also, of course, you're a Ducks fan, and the Ducks are kind of on the rise this year. So give me your kind of what's your expectations as a Ducks fan to you're starting to creep out of the rebuild here. You got Drysdale, you got Mason McTavish, you got Zegras if he's healthy right now, but there's optimism down south for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting times. With the new GM, Pat Verbeek. So it just kind of feels sort of refreshing getting a new sort of set of eyes on the whole roster and everything. So it's been pretty exciting. I think even last year, even though there were no playoffs or anything, just the brand of hockey and sort of having those one or two talents that you can look for every game, just especially Zegras, every really game fun. You don't know what he's gonna pull off. I think it's it's just a really, really fun team to watch at this point. And I'm excited to see if those guys can take the next step. And McTavish, I think really, really excited to see what he does this year. He looked really good in the 9 games or whatever he had last season. So excited to see what you can do with a full season. But
I mean, California hockey, we're starting to come back. Well, except for the Sharks, we're going to be bad this year. But we're starting to creep out. We saw the Kings last year. I think they kind of surprised a lot of people making the playoffs, and they're kind of expected to be pretty good now this year. If the Ducks, if these young pieces come together, if Gibson, I think if we get a full year of Gibson actually being John Gibson would be good for the Ducks too, and the Sharks. We have William Eklund. That's
Well, at least you have Eklund. It's like I said sort of last year with Zegras, kind of just having that one super exciting player that you're just
that's all that matters.
Sort of project into the future and be like, oh, this is going to be awesome in a couple of years. I think maybe the Sharks might be a year or two behind, but I feel it'll be good. Can't wait for the battles of California to resume.
I think hockey's better when the California teams are better, and especially when you have those the gauntlets, where they're the road team, they got to run through all 3 of them, and by the third game, there's their third game in 4 nights, and they're just exhausted from playing the California teams, and they're all really good. So I think the next step too for the Ducks, though, I think they need a refresh on the brand, right? We got to get rid of.
100%. Yes.
Got to go back to the old, Mighty Duck logo. Bring back the eggplant, right? We can't. They have the worst jerseys in the league, right?
I fully agree. Yeah, I fully agree. I hadn't bought a jersey in a while until they had the reverse retro last year. I got that. I got my hands on one of those, but nice. I'm not a big fan of the orange. I will say that. So I will say I was a little bit jealous of the Sharks refresh. I think the teal sets looks very, very nice.
I was a little when I first saw them, I was like, I don't know about the teal set. But when you see them in against other teams and stuff, you're like, okay, I can see it. But the white ones, the away ones, Oh, those are, I
Yeah,
love the away ones.
super
So
clean. Yeah.
yes. All right,
Yeah,
Surjan.
fingers crossed for the eggplant. Well,
One day, it's what the people want. Just you would, guys, you would
exactly.
make so much money. Just it's like doing the new Coke back to the original Coke. You're just
I
gonna make so
know,
much
I
money.
know, I know.
So, Surjan, where can the people find you if they want to kind of keep track of your journey and as you're trying to revolutionize the goalie face mask? I know you have a Substack. So where can the people find you?
Yeah, so my Substack is surjan.substack.com, Surjan Surjan. There's also a link to it if that's too hard to remember at singhockey.com, Sing being Singh, my last name. So yeah, you can keep up with the project there. I do lots of updates, just good and bad and the ugly. So everything that happens on this project, I try and write about. So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll tweet it out as well from the Locked On Sharks account, so you guys can go check it out. A lot of cool pictures on there as well as you're kind of going through your process. I went through and like looked at everything. So make sure you guys go check out Surjan's process. And then when he becomes rich and famous for revolutionizing the goalie mask, I can say I got to talk to him right before he broke out. So, yes.
That's a good thought. I like that.
All right. Thanks for your time, Surjan.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Surjan about his mask. I think it's super cool idea. I thought the nice little connection with San Jose was pretty cool. But yeah, make sure you go check out his Substack. He's got awesome photos of his process and how he's working to try to build a new, better goalie mask. So yeah, really cool project. Really excited to talk to him. And yeah, like I talked to him a little bit after and just when he becomes big and hopefully he starts to sell these things, it's going to be pretty cool. So, yeah, that's going to be it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow where we're going to start kind of kicking it into gear with the season coming around. We've got a nice crossover planned with the Preds on Thursday, and then we'll get into the actual games coming up. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you got to follow along on social media as well. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram over at Locked On Sharks. And then, of course, wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Odyssey. Make sure you guys are following along on YouTube as well. Probably won't be doing a postcast on Friday because I'll be at work. But maybe we'll be doing something Saturday afternoon after the game is over so we can talk about the Saturday game. So, yeah, Locked On Sharks on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Twitter at MyFryHole. Again, we'll be back tomorrow as we, kind of, again, getting ready. The season is here, guys. So I can't believe it's here. Until then, bye, friends.